Hello, all you wonderful people. Welcome to Meeple Bits. I'm Ryan Novak. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to play Horizons. And in Horizons, you are a starfaring species taking the first steps into a new galaxy. Find new stars, explore new worlds, collect valuable resources, and secure allies to gain the most ground in expanding your empire. Build colonies and resource collectors to hold on to control in various and increasingly crowded star systems. Do you have what it takes to manipulate the resources at your disposal and control the galaxy? Well, today we're going to find out. Horizons is a game designed by Levi Mott, published by Daily Magic Games for 2 to 5 players, with a playtime of about 60 to 75 minutes. So stay tuned as we go through a quick setup and brief playthrough of Horizons. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is a 3-player setup for Horizons. I'm going to go through the components and then what the setup entails. So for the components, we've got energy tokens, we have steel or metal tokens, and then these purple ones are knowledge tokens. On your player board, there's also colonies and collectors, metal collectors and energy collectors, as represented here on the player board as well. We set up the game to where all player boards are identical, but they've also got a flip side variant as denoted by not having a star, which then kind of makes the game a bit asymmetrical. Everyone has then different costs and everyone has different actions on each of the different icons. So to set up the game, everyone's going to take a player board color of their choice. They're going to lay out all their colonies on their tableau, lay out all their collectors for metal and energy. You're going to deal everyone 2 energy, 2 metal, and 1 knowledge, including 2 mission cards, denoted by this little circular symbol on the back, and then 1 of these starter ally cards. Everyone's going to receive the same starter ally. And everything has an icon in the lower left-hand corner and the lower right-hand corner. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, it's a green arrow, which denotes to flip the card. Allies may be used twice during the game. These starter allies have a trash, which means they're going to be discarded from the game entirely, whereas others, they have a discard, which means you're going to throw it back into the bottom of their respective decks. Also, for setting up, you're going to put out for each player a world marker, a star, which will represent the different galaxies or systems. You're also going to take these tokens and place them above each world in front of your tableau. These will represent active worlds, and only active worlds will you be able to build colonies or collectors on. Then take the remaining piles of allies, sorting them by their icon in the lower left, and put them each in their own respective pile. Take the remaining mission cards and put them off to the side. Additional components, a bag of worlds. So you're going to have a bag, and each world is 2-sided with 3 hexes on them, which represent how many things, colonies, or collectors can be built on them. So let's touch really quickly also. Players are going to receive an iconography card, and on the flip side, it talks about scoring. So going through the different iconography really quickly, you're going to see either energy or metal, and if you see both, it means you can do either one. These represent colonies, worlds, systems, another player, active worlds. There we go. Let's see if I can do it like that. There we are. Knowledge, an ally, which are your ally cards over there. Mission card, as represented by that circle. Flip, discard, destroy, explore, adapt, build, harvest, and conspire, which are also located on the player boards here. So let's talk about that for just a moment. So the different actions that you can take on your turn, as indicated on your player board, you'll take any 2 of them. But as I indicated, on the flip side is a more advanced play, whereby the actions do change. So everyone has a different cost, as well as different actions. But we're going to address just the basic side in today's video. So the actions that you can do There's two of, you can take any two. Explore. You're going to draw a world from the bag, and you're going to gain 1 knowledge token. Adapt. You're going to activate any world by putting it from here above the planet, in any order and any one you choose. And then you're also going to take an ally. Build. There we go. You're going to be able to build a collector or a colony, harvest, gain 1 energy for each energy collector, and 1 steel for each steel collector you have in play. Conspire. Draw 2 new missions or an ally and a mission card. Okay, so that's the setup and that's the initial game. But the setup isn't entirely complete. For the first round, what you're going to have to do is every person, starting with whoever's first, is going to take 1 world out of the draw bag and place it face down in front, or place it connected to any of the galaxies or systems. Then they're going to get to choose a world to activate based on the worlds that are out there. Since I'm first player, the only choice I have to activate is going to be the volcanic world. So I'm going to take my token and put it above the volcanic world like so, indicating that on future turns I have the ability to build on volcanic worlds. So player 2 is going to go, they're going to draw, and they're going to place it on a system that doesn't already have a planet, like so. Planets may only connect to a star. They cannot connect directly to other planets that are not connected to the star. So I could never on a turn put this here. It has to connect to a star. So they'll go ahead and activate their desert planet. And then player 3, choosing another one. Player 2 has the option to activate desert or volcanic. And then player 3 is going to take theirs, put the oceanic one here, and player 3 going last, they'll have the option to do whichever one they just drew or any of the ones that are already out there. How you make a decision, really, though, is going to be determined possibly on your initial mission cards. Let's address those now. My starter missions that I've randomly got were adaptable. Adapt to build on all planet types. I suck at this. But anyway, adapt to build on all planet types. So basically, I need to get all of my planets to be adapted. Retain my starter card. That's 2 pretty relatively easy missions, meaning I'll be able to use my starter ally once, but I'm not going to want to use him a second time in order to complete that mission. Also, the game ending. So, the game will end when a player places their final colony. The game will end immediately. No one will get an additional turn. The game is then over. How you win is the person with the most victory points. How do you acquire victory points? Well, knowledge tokens, as you gain them throughout the game, will be worth 1 victory point. Mission cards, as you collect them and complete them, will be worth victory points in the lower left-hand corner. And then system control, as indicated on the back of the scorecard here. Each player that has different system control, and you control a system by having the most colonies or collectors on them. Colonies are worth 2 points towards control, collectors are worth 1. So if the systems were exactly like this, and a person had, say, 2 collectors here and 1 there, the person with 2 would control that system. So for endgame scoring, that person would receive 6 victory points. The person with minority control would receive 3. In a case of a tie, whereby, let's say, 2 players, let's take green and pink here, let's say that was the tie. They have tying majority control. They would each receive 3 points, and minority control, if there were one, would receive none. If one person has majority control, and there's a tie for minority control, the first person gets 6 points, and the tying minority, instead of getting 3, will each get 1. Also indicated on your scorecard here. And that's it. The game will play in each round where every player is going to take any 2 actions and then complete those actions, and the last player to build the final colony ends the game. And the person with the most victory points will win. Final note of setup. You're going to go through the mission deck here and find all the different cards that don't match the number of players that you're playing with. So in our mission deck, we have just everything for 3 and above. Or sorry, 3 and below. Whereas 4 is not in the deck, or 5 players is not in our game. So we're going to set these off to the side. One caveat to note about the different actions is your allies. How allies come into play. You can activate an ally whenever you take its corresponding action. So as I mentioned, we separated the 5 piles here, which also have an icon for the 5 different actions that can be done. On any given turn, if you have an ally that matches the action, you can then activate that ally. Once you've activated an ally, you can either do it before the action is taken or after the action is taken. But once you've activated the ally, you're then going to flip the card, like so, and then if you activate the ally again on a subsequent turn, you would discard it from play, the starter card, but you would put the other ones, return them to their respective piles for later use. And that's it. So that's the initial components and setup. Let's go ahead and go through a brief couple of turns just so you can get a general idea of how the game plays out. So everyone's got an activated mission world. Sorry, let's get player 3 with an active world. So everyone then, after initial setup, should have placed out 1 planet and activated 1 world. Okay, let's take our first turn. So I'm going to take any 2 actions, mix and match. On my turn, if I adapt, I can activate my ally because this adapt icon is also matching my action. This this ally is going to allow me to choose an active world and gain 1 resource for every world in play that matches my chosen active world. So as I look around, well, there's only 1 of each in play, so I'm not really going to want to use him just yet. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and explore for my first turn. Pulling out a planet. There we go. And desert planet. You know what? Let's go ahead and throw out desert and connect them right over there. So that's my first action. I'm going to draw 1 planet as indicated on my tableau and gain 1 knowledge. For my second action, looking around, you know what? I need to start getting some builders, some collectors out there. So you know what? I'm going to build. Building on each planet costs something a little differently. Probably should have addressed that a little bit sooner. But let me pull this one into play. Okay. So to build on a green planet, it's going to cost 2 energy, 1 metal to build either collector on this planet. To build a colony on a green world, it's going to take 4 energy and 3 metal to build a colony. On a desert planet, it's going to take 1 energy and 1 steel to build a steel collector. On a desert planet, I cannot build an energy collector. Frozen is the same, whereas gaseous and oceanic, I cannot build a steel collector, only energy. And these are their respective costs. So as I look around the board, desert is relatively cheap to build a steel collector, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to pay my 1 steel and my 1 energy. I'm going to build my steel collector on this planet. So for purposes of the game, I have control of that system right now. All right, so those are my 2 actions. Player 2, they're looking around and they're going to do, for their first action, they're going to do an adapt. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I can't do that build action because I don't have desert activated on my tableau. I can only build on volcanic. So I'm actually going to have to pay 1 more steel to build over here on volcanic. Green looking out at the board, they see 2 desert and they actually have desert activated. So they like that. And you know what? They're going to go ahead and do the adaptability, which will allow them to activate another planet and take an ally. And in doing so, though, before taking this action, they're going to go ahead and activate their ally card. Again, their starting allies are all the same. So he's going to choose desert to activate, and gain 1 resource, either steel or energy, for each planet out there. So looking at the board and what he might want to do, he's going to go ahead and activate the ally, flipping it over to the other side. Take his, let's say 1 of each. 1 steel, 1 energy, because there's 2 desert planets out there. And now he's going to adopt a new planet, and let's adopt Oceanic. He would probably look at his missions, which I'll worry about that later, but he would probably say, all right, what planets do I need to build on? Let's take a quick look at what his cards are. So he is build a colony or collector on 4 planet types, have 5 allies of 3+ species. So his mission, just build some stuff. So activating any planet's going to help him out. All right, so for his action 1, he adapted. So he's going to do that, and then he's also going to take an ally card. Reading the top of the ally cards, let's see, gain 1 knowledge or activate 1 planet when you do the adapt. That's not bad. So you know what? He's going to actually take that one for his ally. So taking this one, putting it over into his hand. For his second action, now that he's flush with resources, he's going to build. He's going to build on a desert planet since it only costs 1 and 1. So 1 and 1, and he needs to build on unique planets. So on desert, you can only build a steel collector. So let's put it right there. He put it there so that I don't have full system control of that galaxy. And those are his 2 actions. Player 3. Okay, so they're looking around and they're like, okay, what might help me out? So he's going to do, so we've seen build. He can't really harvest. He's going to conspire. He wants to get up some more mission cards and get some more allies in his hand. Now you can take them in any order. So for example, you can draw up 1 mission card. First, you don't have to take 2. Complete 4 other missions. Okay, so when he gets this card, he's going to say, all right, I need to complete 4 other missions. But I also need some allies in my hand, but I need to get more mission cards as well. So for his second one, instead of taking an ally, he's going to go ahead and draw up a second mission. Have 3 unused allied cards. So on future turns, now that he's got missions, he's going to want to go ahead and start collecting some allies, it looks like. And that's his turn 1, Conspire. For his turn 2, he has Oceanic adapted, so he's going to do, let's say, a build action. All right, so let me grab 1 and 1, as indicated on Oceanic, and he's going to build 1 energy collector on Oceanic here. Okay, back to player 1. They're looking around, and just for demo purposes, I'm going to do the harvest action. So I'm going to gain 1 resource for each one that I have in play. And instead of trying to count out there how many of each I have in play, your tableau actually shows you as you pull them off the board how many are out there. So I only have 1 steel, so I would gain 1 steel into my tableau. But let's say, for example, it was like this. Then I can easily see I would gain 2 and 2. Like this, 3 and 2. So pretty self-explanatory and helpful. Okay, so that's it for the demo, guys. I hope you've learned how to easily set up, and then I hope the examples have given you an idea of how to go through and play. So stay tuned for my afterthoughts in just a moment. Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the brief playthrough of Horizons. So Horizons, as you can tell, is sort of an engine builder type game with some resource management mixed in. I definitely enjoyed this one, and we recently got it to the table for our game night. I wanted to try to live stream it, but it was in a crowded bar, so it wouldn't have really been the best area. But anyway, it's a pretty fun game. I like the artwork of it, and it's relatively streamlined, which I enjoy because, again, when you have to go too complex with some of the games, they just kind of take away from the fun factor of everything for me. So having only 2 actions per turn really helps move the game along. So there's never a crazy lull between turns, which is always a positive thing in a game for me, because then people start taking out their phones, not paying attention to what everyone's doing, and then just generally losing interest when you've got to wait 5 minutes in between your turns. So this one, it moves at a pretty solid pace, which I definitely enjoy. Let's see. So I guess one thing that I probably would change about the game, or one thing that's a little bit complex or confusing, that when our crew sort of was going through it for the first time, are the ally cards. And being able to activate the ally either before or after the action has been declared, it's an interesting strategy element, yes, but it can also make for a little bit confusing play, because then there's some small nuances in, okay, if I bring this into my hand first, for example, so when you adapt and you get to take an ally, if I've taken an ally into my hand, can I then use it because it's now in my hand? The answer is no, but it's a little ambiguous in its declaration of those small nuances. But overall, as an engine builder, sort of resource management game, it was a lot of fun. The scores were pretty close, and in fact, on our game night, the first place was tied between two of the players, and then it had to go into the tiebreaker, which I didn't really explain in the video, but the tiebreaker is then who has the most resources. If the players are then tied for most resources, it goes to whoever got the most victory points through mission cards. So the components are really good. I like the thick cardboard stock of the tableaus. The other downside that we had learned during our game night is there was two of us that managed to hoard probably most of the mission cards. So I don't know if there's maybe a way to tweak it to put a limit on the number of either allies or the number of mission cards that you can get into your hand. And I get that that's a little bit contradictory since missions are how you gain victory points, but we kind of boxed out one of the players who didn't have a chance early on to acquire some of the missions. And I think they ended the game with only having 3 mission cards in their hand, the 2 that they started with, and managed to get one other because the rest of the players were just hoarding them all up. So anyway, that's my take on it. A very solid and engaging, streamlined engine builder resource management. Definitely something that I think I discovered at Gen Con a couple of years ago during, let's see, I think I played it probably day 1, really enjoyed it, went back the final day and decided to pick it up. So anyway, guys, if you like engine builders, resource management, and something that's pretty easy to get into. Again, I like the fact that you just get the 2 actions and then you're moving on for the next player. Those are my thoughts, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments, or of course, correction about the demo. Happy to try to make some edits. Also, if you've got any suggestions on what you might want me to bring to the table next, happy to hear those thoughts as well. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. Really appreciate it. And if you've enjoyed it, definitely leave a like, follow, subscribe, whatever they call it. I forget. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.